Good morning and welcome to our first ever urban garden tour. I'm Leota and I garden with my partner Michaela, and together we're the Curly Cultivators. Our garden is located here in sunny Sacramento, California, which, if you're unfamiliar, is actually in Northern California. We absolutely love living here because we have the opportunity to grow year round. Michaela and I both grew up gardening alongside our moms, but we've been gardening together as a couple for about 10 years or so. So as we walk through our vegetable garden today, you'll probably notice a couple of things. Most of our vegetable crops are actually grown right behind me in raised beds. We have 10 raised beds that are each 4 by 4, and let me tell you, you can pack a lot of food into a small space. The second thing that you'll notice in our garden is that each of our beds is planted strategically. So instead of having a pepper bed, a tomato bed, and then an eggplant bed, for example, we will have beds that combine flowers, herbs, and vegetable crops just to increase biodiversity, pollination, and just add beauty to the space. So without further ado, welcome to the garden. Let's hop in. All right, in this bed we have 3 varieties of basil. We have some scallions, some green beans, a melon plant, I think it's a cantaloupe, some beautiful Thai peppers that are great for hot sauce actually. We need to harvest some off of here. It's looking a little crusty. We also have shishitos in this bed, but let me show you my favorite thing, which is this green night eggplant. This eggplant is in fact green and stays green even when it's ready to harvest. It's really tender and mild in flavor, and I really enjoy it. In this bed we have some parsley that's gone to seed. This is from a while ago. We actually planted this back in probably November of last year, and we're going to be saving seed, so that's why it's still going rogue. We also have some beautiful Napa Chardonnay cherry tomatoes back here that are really uniquely flavored and delicious. This variety is from Wild Boar Farms. We got it from our local Green Acres. We also have a Lemon Boy tomato, which is really actually one of our favorites. The flavor is relatively mild and quite delicious. What I love about this plant is that it's reliable, it's an early producer, and it produces quite often and in abundance. So even on this just one plant that hasn't been well taken care of this season, it looks like there's 7 or 8 different tomatoes that we can harvest later. Now, tomatoes are definitely one of our favorite things to grow, and that's because there are so many cool varieties and they grow really well here. So this variety I think is called Atomic Fusion. The coloring though on them is absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, that's what it's going to look like when it's closer to being ripened, how it looks on the bottom here. But then this is what they look like now. They have purple, green, and like cream undertones. It's absolutely gorgeous. And actually this plant has done quite well too in terms of production, and the flavor of this tomato is unreal. It's really unique. This one is also from Wild Boar Farms. I'm going to pull off one that's more ripe just so you can see what that one looks like. It's literally gorgeous. Look at the different colors in there. It's like a little rainbow. This is definitely our most chaotic bed. There are 4 tomatillo plants here. They are thriving and cranking out lots of tomatillos. We actually just harvested some yesterday. If you are unfamiliar with tomatillos, they're not quite the same as tomatoes. First, they take a while to produce, and they grow in little lantern-like husks, and they look like this. So let me give you a close-up of that. So the husk forms first, which is this like papery outside that's flexible, and then when the tomatillo is ready to harvest, it looks more like this, and it starts popping out of the husk. So it turns this bright, beautiful green color. The husk opens up. It's then kind of stuck to the tomatillo a little bit. You pull it off like this, and then as you can see, this is what it looks like. We love using tomatillos in salsa verde. They're quite delicious. They have like a mild, sweet, tangy, and citrusy flavor. But as you can see, this one's ready to harvest. We know that because the husk is full. But I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. If you peel apart the tomatillo, the skin is kind of papery at this point. And I just like to peel each of the pieces back, and that's what it looks like. Stunning. You'll notice that there's like a sticky looking residue under the husk of the tomatillo, and that is supposed to prevent any pest issues. So I just pull that right off, have this beautiful fruit, and then we like to just wash them off really nicely to get the sticky sap off, roast them with some onions and maybe a couple of jalapenos or Fresno peppers, and then make a beautiful salsa verde. Flowers are the most underrated part of any vegetable garden, and that's because they aren't just absolutely beautiful, they add structure to a space, they increase biodiversity, and they attract critical pollinators into the space. With that being said, we always prioritize putting flowers in our vegetable garden and throughout other spaces in our garden. This set of flowers is mostly perennials that we chose, with the exception of the zinnias right over here. We just chose them because they were pretty and they matched the vibe that we were going for this year. But this space is just full of life, and it's so fun to see it grow in, to see the pollinators, the butterflies, the wasps, the bumblebees fly by. It brings us so much joy. In this bed, we have a couple of our favorite tomatoes. One of them is chocolate sprinkles tomatoes. That's a grape-sized tomato. Has really great flavor that's unique, and it has these beautiful clusters of tomatoes that tend to hold on the vine really, really well. It's a prolific producer, so we will absolutely always grow this variety in our garden. Another one of our favorite tomatoes from this bed is called the Black Beauty tomato. It's really quite gorgeous. It has these dark black slash purple looking shoulders right here. And then if you turn it over when it's fully ripened, it has red undertones right on the bottom. Because we have a long growing season here in Sacramento, we can plant some of the same crops twice. So I planted these beautiful bush beans that germinated and are looking fantastic. That way, in maybe 40 days or so, we'll have some bush beans ready to harvest again. Before we move on to the next bed, I just wanted to show you my beautiful basil. This is a variegated basil called Perpetuo. It smells incredible, and it's really cool because it doesn't bolt. And of course, we're also growing the Italian variety of basil. Also smells amazing, but we like to use this one for pesto in particular. Oh, and we have some beautiful zinnias in this bed. And then on the other side of the trellis, we are growing these beautiful beans. They're called yard-long beans. We have two varieties that we're growing. One is green and one is burgundy, which is even cooler. These taste like a typical green bean, but they're really cool because they literally grow up to a yard long, which is unreal. And since we're already on this side of the trellis, there is a second trellis that we have in our garden. This one is used for growing cucumbers for us this season. We have 3 different types of cucumbers that we're growing, and one of them, you can see down here actually, is a Persian cucumber. So they're kind of smaller bite-sized cucumbers. Then we also have a Japanese suyo cucumber and I believe an Armenian cucumber. I'm going to try to find one of the Japanese ones. Let's see, because they're particularly delicious. So it has like a spiky looking outside, which is interesting, but the flavor is like an English cucumber and the crunch is phenomenal. So we love using this in Asian salads. Okay, I warned you that we're tomato obsessed. Now let me show you my third tomato obsession. This is called a 4th of July tomato. It's a simple tomato. It's a really great size actually, but what I like about it is it's flavor packed and it starts producing. It's usually actually the first tomato to produce in the entire garden, and then it will be the last tomato to produce. So it continuously produces very prolifically a set of tomatoes from about at least the 4th of July, which is again the name of the tomato, up until November or December when we have our first frost of the season. So this is a tomato that I cannot recommend enough. I am absolutely obsessed with it. Another reliable tomato for us is the Ace 55 tomato. So this is a determinate tomato, so it produces all of its fruit at once, which is why the plant is looking a little bit tired. I actually need to come in and just harvest the rest of the fruit off of this. Maybe there's like 5 or 6 fruit still left on this plant. And then we're going to pull it out and maybe plant some okra or something else that has a relatively short seed to harvest time frame, so we can get more food out of this space after we turn it over. Then over in this bed, we have some cucamelons growing. We actually made this trellis out of some peach tree limbs that we had left over after pruning the tree back in the winter time. We also have kale growing, a ton of oregano, a delicata squash plant right here, some green bean plants kind of thrown in here, a Jimmy Nardello plant, and oh, we have peanuts growing. I'm really interested to see how these do in ground. Really excited about that. Um, and then we have a yellow squash growing here and a green zucchini squash growing here. So this bed looks a little empty, but that's because the squash are actually hanging out of the bed and instead of taking over, which is intentionally how we designed it. Under the shade and chaos of the tomatillo bed, we have a pepper bed, and we have, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 plants in this space. You can't really see all the details because it's bright outside now, but we have sage and oregano planted on the border of this bed, and we also have some purple basil tucked in here. The flowers are on the other side, aside from the marigold right here, but this is a very busy and jam-packed bed, and there are tons of Hungarian wax peppers on this plant in particular that I can't wait to harvest. Now this bed in particular is cool because it has lemon thyme, and then most of the plants around the border are green beans, which is kind of a fun way to maximize the space that we have. We also have Cherokee purple tomatoes, I think a couple of those plants in here. And then on the right side, we have some more lemon boy tomatoes, which are again one of those super reliable, prolific tomatoes that we enjoy throughout the entire season. Since this is a lemon themed bed, though, we have lemon boy tomatoes, we have lemon thyme, and then we also have lemon basil. And then on the border here, much like another bed you'll see, we have a zinnia plant. This is actually a miniature zinnia. And then we started to sow more seeds for more green beans and then a quick growing squash right here. So that's why it looks a little bit empty and the mulch has moved back. We hope you enjoyed this little peek inside of our Sacramento backyard garden. Let us know if you have any questions and don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy gardening!